Hello and thanks for tuning in. I'm Holly Shields for Kalkine Media and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. In this edition, I'll be shedding a light on Eclipse Metals, the standout multi-commodity exploration and development company with an impressive portfolio of projects. And joining us today is none other than Executive Chairman Carl Popal. Welcome to the show, Carl. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Holly. Thanks for having me.
It's a
pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you on. Now, first of all, what can you tell us about the strategy behind having such a diverse asset portfolio from rare earths to uranium and copper?
Eclipse Metals, as you mentioned, we've got an impressive portfolio of strategic minerals prospects for cryolite, fluorite, iron, zinc, siderite, high purity quartz, rare earth elements, uranium within Australia, manganese, gold, palladium. So it is quite a broad. Primarily, we're exploring and developing projects with the potential of to facilitate requirements for minerals and metals for green energy to tackle climate change. Most of these minerals and metals that we're exploring for is primarily highly demanded for green energy. As we develop projects, we aim to contribute in a positive way towards net zero emission mining. And we hope to be helping to play a positive role towards low emission energy requirements.
That's incredible to hear. It sounds like sustainability is really at the forefront of the things that you do.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's primarily what we're focused on as we move forward, developing the company and its projects.
Very impressive there. And it looks like new avenues are opening at the Ivitut project in Greenland. Could you maybe walk us through some of your latest findings from the satellite imagery analysis?
Yeah, look, we've just recently completed the Sentinel-2 imagery. Historically, there's been limited geophysical work that was completed. There was a reasonable coverage on the Granadal area where we're trying to delineate. We have delineated some rare earths from the surface. But on the Ivitut, there's very little. And the Sentinel-2 has provided us with additional target. It's a proven and cost-effective way of targeting mineralization. It has given us additional target. As we move forward to drill those targets, we hope to be a bit more precise and cost-effective in our drilling.
That is an excellent strategy there. I'm sure cost effectiveness does pay off really for you quite a lot down the line, especially for your investors. I think that's a great strategy there always. And speaking of Ivitut, it is the only known commercial source of naturally occurring cryolite. And along with cryolite, the Ivitut pit contains the potential for fluorite and quartz, while grab samples returned lithium concentration. So based on the exploration activities so far, what could be the potential value of the minerals in the project, considering the current economic conditions?
From the limited information exploration that we've conducted on the actual project, in particular, the 19,000 meters of drill core that we've assessed, or partially assessed, should I say, has provided us with exploration targets, in particular with the quartz body below the pit, which is around about 5.8 million tonnes, averaging between 90 to 95% purity of quartz. It's got zinc siderite at the bottom of the pit also that's still remaining as we assess the historical drilling. The cryolite has been mined, but the zinc siderite and the quartz body is still there. And as mentioned, 5.8 million tonnes of high purity quartz. Silica, high purity quartz, are worth a lot of money. So obviously, to put a dollar value, I'd be estimating somewhere around, within the billions of dollars of quartz body. But that's not the only thing that we're more focused. Is the Granadal rare earths, which is the carbonatite deposit, and the rare earths are widely spread. It's between 1 to 4 kilometers, 1 by 4 kilometers, should I say, area that we're targeting. And most importantly, the rare earths that we have delineated through laboratory assay results are showing the highly demanded magnetic rare earths that's required for high-tech industry. So the silica quartz, obviously, is also the high-purity quartz is required for the high-tech industry. So is the rare earths. Combined, we hope to see to deliver a massive value for our shareholders developing the EVA2 project. Having said that, we also have assets within Australia, with the manganese, the uranium, copper, gold, which are additional to add on within the portfolio. Overall, I think there's substantial value, but at this stage, it's still early stage exploration for us. So we're more focused on exploration targets rather than calculating resource or BFS. But having 19,000 meters of drilling, it does boost our confidence moving forward.
Right. Well, it does sound incredibly promising so far, what you've just uncovered there. And there is plenty of that demand, I'm sure, of those minerals. So that'll be great to see in the coming months and years, especially. Now, just switching gears there, what's the rationale behind the anti-uranium divestment decision? Eclipse, while still maintaining significant exposure to the uranium projects through its stake in Oz Yellow, but why this move at a time when the uranium market is showing significant upside?
Yeah, certainly. Look, overall, the idea has been having a smorgasbord of projects within Australia and also in Greenland is to have a pure play entity for uranium. Uranium is, unlike gold or other commodities, it's a niche commodity for niche investors. Unlike gold, we wouldn't want to buy an ounce of a pound of uranium, put it in a safe. There's in particular investment requirements from the market towards uranium. So therefore, I think as a pure play uranium entity, it will do the projects justice. It will reduce the confusion for investors. Also, having a primarily uranium focused entity, we will be obviously keeping a substantial interest for our shareholders develop while these projects are being developed. So overall, it's a win-win situation for both sides, for us and also the entity that will take it forward.
Well, it does sound like a win-win there. Absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And, speaking of which, especially considering the locations of the project, I understand that your board and management team have to deal with the regulatory bodies of two different regions. So I'd love to know, how are things different in Greenland with respect to Australia when it comes to things like permits and approvals, as well as support of the native population and community, and even environmental regulations?
Well, Greenland, being a tier 1 jurisdiction in Europe, their mining laws are quite similar to what we have in Western Australia. Matter of fact, the only thing I would say is probably different is the double taxation. And our recent visit or dialogue with the Minister of Mines in Greenland and the Minister in the embassy of Danish embassy in Toronto, we had a discussion in regard to that, in particular the double taxation. That's an issue that's a bit of a concern, which probably slightly different to what we would normally be dealing with. But overall, their environmental and social impact assessment documents and etc., the requirements are pretty much quite stringent, as we have in here, and we don't have any issues with that at all. It aligns well with our internal policies, how we develop actual projects. We don't see a huge disparities when it comes to dealing with the environmental side of things. But having said that, the double taxation is one of those issues that we have raised with the Minister of Mines and the Greenlandic government, which is an issue they are internally discussing at the moment, trying to facilitate better avenues for foreign entities like us in order to make it more investment friendly.
Well, it is a good sign that you're able to mitigate those minor issues there. But all in all, it does sound like it's familiar territory for you there in terms of regulation, etc. So that is overall good to hear. And any closing comments you'd love to share with our viewers just before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'm glad to share my views in regards to disparities in EPM market value versus its asset value. We have a smorgasbord of assets that within the junior company that we have, and there's a gap that needs to be bridged better systemically as we explore. We hope to unveil the potentials of these projects in order to bridge that gap. We hope to see EV2 project in Greenland, which held the title of the world's largest and only parallel mine, to rejuvenate into production in Europe again as a multi-commodity project. As mentioned, there's a smorgasbord of opportunity in Eclipse. Eclipse happens once every so often. So be sure to have your telescope ready and have EPM on your watch list.
I love that. I love that. That's great to hear. Overall, incredibly promising stuff. And it seems like you've got a really big year ahead of you there. So we'll definitely keep an eye out for everything Eclipse has going on. But with that said, thanks very much for joining us, Carl. It's been really terrific to hear from you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for your time as well, viewers. If you've just joined us, that was Carl Popal, the Executive Chairman at Eclipse Metals. They're doing some incredible work in this space, so do keep an eye out. And if you missed any part of that chat, you can catch the full interview on our YouTube channel at Kalkine Media, and make sure to subscribe. I'm Holly Shields, reminding you to stay apprised and invest wise.